I stood alone in the cavernous, terracotta-tiled lobby of the Serenity Spire Resort, the scent of cedar and desert sage mocking the turmoil in my chest. My phone was a cold, heavy slab in my hand. On the screen was my sister-in-law's latest Instagram story, a clinking of champagne glasses, my husband Mark's handsome face smiling right into the camera. The caption read, "Exclusive family pre-wedding dinner, so blessed." They had ditched me. My husband's text, sent 20 minutes earlier, was a pathetic lie about a last-minute change of plans and a mix-up with the reservation. But I knew. I saw the truth in their smiling, exclusive faces. Then, the real gut punch landed as I looked around the opulent lobby I had paid for. Every single cent. For all of them. And that's when the switch flipped. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I see you all popping into the chat. Drop your city in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? It helps to know I'm not talking into the void. My name is Maya, and I'm an architect based in Chicago. For the past 10 years, my life has been a blueprint of careful construction, both in my career and in my marriage to Mark Vance. Mark comes from what people in the North Shore suburbs call old money. His family, especially his mother Brenda and his sister Chloe, wore their legacy like a designer coat, one they never took off, even indoors. I, on the other hand, was the daughter of a union carpenter and a schoolteacher from the South Side. No matter how successful my firm became or how many design awards I won, to the Vances, I was a novelty project, not a permanent fixture. I spent years trying to earn my place at their table. I hosted immaculate holiday dinners. I remembered every birthday, every anniversary, every ridiculously obscure allergy. I bit my tongue when Brenda would refer to my career as my little artistic hobby. I smiled when Chloe, the bride-to-be, would make passive-aggressive comments about my taste. I did it for Mark because I loved him and because a small, foolish part of me believed that one day they would finally see me. So, for Chloe's destination wedding in Sedona, Arizona, I decided to make the grandest gesture of all. I booked and paid for the entire Vance family, parents, siblings, the works, to stay at the 5-star Serenity Spire Resort for the whole weekend. I'm talking presidential suites, spa packages, the whole 9 yards. It cost a fortune, a significant chunk of my personal savings, but I thought it was worth it. A gift so generous they couldn't possibly ignore it. I let Mark take the credit, telling him we could announce it was from both of us at the rehearsal dinner. That was my mistake. He told them he was handling it, and they just assumed. They assumed the Vance family money was footing the bill, as it always had. The little red flags were there, of course. Mark's increasing vagueness about our joint finances, his casual mentions of loaning his dad some money for a bad investment, the way he'd get defensive if I asked to see the statements. I'd chalked it up to his pride. I never imagined the truth was a foundation rotted through with lies. Standing in that lobby, abandoned, the architectural precision of my life crumbled into dust. The grand gesture had become a punchline, and I was the joke. But as an architect, I know one thing. When a structure fails, you don't patch it up. You tear it down to the studs and build something stronger. The initial sting of humiliation quickly cooled into a glacial rage. I sat down on a plush leather sofa, my mind racing, no longer the doting wife, but a forensic analyst sifting through the wreckage. I pulled up my credit card app. There it was, the charge for Serenity Spire Resort, a number so large it made my stomach clench. It was all on me, all on my card, booked under my name. Chilling thoughts snaked into my mind. I navigated to our joint bank account online, my fingers flying across the screen. I'd let Mark handle the day-to-day finances for years, trusting him completely. My trust had been my undoing. I scrolled through months of statements, and there it was. Not just one loan to his father, but a steady, relentless bleed. Thousands of dollars transferred every month to Brenda's personal account. The descriptions were sickeningly mundane. Family support, Chloe's wedding fund, Dad's expenses. It was a gusher, draining our shared future to water their dying family tree. The Vances weren't old money anymore. They were just old and out of money. The designer clothes, the country club memberships, the casual arrogance. It was all a performance, funded by me. Mark wasn't just letting them disrespect me. He was using my hard-earned money to buy their respect for himself, while they treated me like dirt. The betrayal was so profound, so multi-layered. It was almost elegant in its cruelty. I leaned my head back, the cool leather a balm against my burning skin. I didn't cry. The time for tears was over. It was time for demolition. I called my best friend Jessica, a divorce lawyer in Chicago whose motto is, "Don't get sad, get strategic." "Maya? You sound weird. Is everything okay?" she asked. I gave her the entire sordid story in a flat, emotionless voice. When I finished, there was a moment of silence. "Okay," she said, her voice turning sharp and professional. "First, screenshot everything. The bank transfers, the Instagram story, your husband's lame text. Second, that hotel booking. Is your name the primary name on the reservation and the payment?" "Yes," I said. "Mine and mine alone." "Perfect," she purred. "You hold all the cards, honey. You're not just a guest, you're the proprietor of their little fantasy weekend. So, what do you want to do?" As I was about to answer, a flicker of recognition caught my eye. A small brass plaque on the manager's office door read, "Daniel Cole, Resort Director." I knew that name. Daniel and I had served on a sustainable design panel at a conference in Phoenix a few years back. A long shot, but it was better than nothing. I told Jessica I had an idea and I'd call her back. I walked to the front desk. "I need to speak with Daniel Cole, please. It's a personal matter. My name is Maya Desai Vance." Minutes later, a man with a kind face and sharp suit appeared. His eyes widened slightly. "Maya? I thought I recognized your name on the guest list. It's great to see you. What can I do for you?" We moved to his office. I didn't sugarcoat it. I laid out the financial deception, the public humiliation, the lies. I told him my family was currently enjoying a dinner paid for by funds they didn't know were mine, staying in suites they didn't know I'd provided. And I told him exactly how I wanted to proceed. He listened patiently, his expression shifting from professional courtesy to genuine outrage on my behalf. "Consider it done," he said, a grim smile touching his lips. "The ceremony is tomorrow at the Sunset Terrace. Reception in the Grand Ballroom. When do you want to make your move?" "During the reception," I said. "Right after the maid of honor's speech." The wedding reception was a picture of staged perfection. Hundreds of fairy lights twinkled in the Grand Ballroom, casting a warm glow on the tables adorned with white roses and eucalyptus. Chloe was radiant in her obscenely expensive gown, and Brenda was holding court like the queen she pretended to be. Mark, my husband, caught my eye from the head table and gave me a small, questioning smile, as if wondering where I'd been. I gave him a tight, unreadable smile back. I had spent the day in a different suite, preparing. Chloe stood to give her speech, thanking her parents for their endless love and support. Then she turned to Mark. "And to my big brother, Mark," she gushed, raising her glass. "Thank you for your incredible generosity, for making this dream weekend possible for our entire family. We love you so much." A round of applause. Mark beamed, soaking it in. That was my cue. As the applause died down, the ballroom lights dimmed unexpectedly. A hush fell over the guests. Daniel Cole, the resort manager, walked purposefully to the podium, a microphone in his hand and two uniformed security guards flanking him. "Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for the interruption," Daniel said, his voice calm but authoritative, commanding the attention of the entire room. "My name is Daniel Cole, the director of this resort. We have a serious security and financial matter that requires immediate attention." He paused, letting the tension build. Brenda looked confused, then annoyed at the interruption. The block of presidential suites and all associated charges for the Vance bridal party, Daniel continued, his eyes scanning the head table, were booked using a single credit card. We have just received a report from the cardholder that these charges are fraudulent. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Chloe's face went white. Brenda's jaw dropped. Per hotel policy and for the security of our establishment, when a payment of this magnitude is flagged as fraudulent, we have no choice but to immediately terminate all services, Daniel announced, his voice ringing with finality. I need Mr. and Mrs. Vance Sr., Chloe Vance, and Mark Vance to please follow these gentlemen. You will be escorted from the premises. Your belongings will be packed and held for you at the security office. The chaos was instantaneous. Brenda let out a strangled shriek. This is absurd. My son paid for everything. Chloe burst into hysterical tears, her perfect day dissolving into a public nightmare. All eyes were on Mark. He looked wildly around the room, his face a mask of confusion and panic, until his eyes locked with mine. I was standing near the back wall, my arms crossed, my expression perfectly serene. In that instant, he understood. He saw the quiet architect he'd underestimated and realized he was staring at the demolition expert who had just brought his entire world crashing down. The security guards moved in, quiet and efficient, as the wedding guests erupted into a cacophony of shocked whispers. I didn't stay to watch them being led out of the ballroom. Seeing the look of pure, unadulterated shock on their faces was enough. I walked out of the reception, through the beautiful lobby I had paid for, and into the cool Sedona night. I checked out of the resort, got on the first flight back to Chicago, and called Jessica from the airport. By the time Mark's plane landed, the divorce papers were already drafted and waiting. The legal fight was ugly, but the evidence was irrefutable. The bank statements, the emails, his own family's stunned testimony. It all painted a clear picture of financial infidelity. The judge in Cook County was not impressed with his story. I kept my firm, our house, and my dignity. The story of the Sedona wedding wipeout apparently became a cautionary tale in their social circles, a spectacular fall from a grace they never truly possessed. Sometimes I think back to that night, not with anger, but with a strange sense of gratitude. They thought they were leaving me behind, but they were setting me free. I learned that my value isn't something to be negotiated or purchased with grand gestures. It's inherent. It's the foundation I stand on. And now, I'm building a new life, on my own terms, with a blueprint that's all my own. If this story hit home for you, hit the like button, comment one below, and share your own story if you feel comfortable. You never know who needs to hear it, and please subscribe for more. Thanks.